All right, fifth graders. Well, welcome back to math. It's been a while since we've been able to talk about math. Um, just know that before you watch this math video, you should watch the introduction one that has been posted. Miss Ambacher is leading that one. So today we're going to continue to talk about measurement. And we're going to talk about metric measurement. This whole week is going to be about the metric system. And today specifically will be length. So if you're in my math class, you know that I always like to write down notes, and I always start with the title. Now, please feel free to take these notes if you want to and follow along. You can always pause the video, rewatch parts of it if you need to. All right, so hopefully some of you know what the basic unit of length is in the metric system. For those of you that aren't sure about it, it's the meter. So the meter is our basic, or meters are the basic units of length. And one of the things I always like to do is compare about how long a meter is. And one thing that we have found is that the width of a doorway, so that's side to side, not top to bottom, but side to side, is about a meter. Now, of course, we know that doorways can be, some doorways are wider and some are narrower. So this is just kind of an average starting spot. So width of a doorway. I guess I should put width of a doorway. And that way you can kind of always have a sense of how big a meter is, because almost everywhere that you are, there's going to be a doorway in sight. So you'll be able to tell that. All right. Now, in the metric system, mostly in fifth grade, we're going to be dealing with meters. Now, one of the things that I like to do is show all of the different measurements that we have for length, going from our biggest ones down to our smallest ones. So if we have 1 meter and we want to go bigger than that, and we say we want to do 10 meters put together, so like 10 doorways, that's called a decameter. And it's usually abbreviated with DKM or DAM. So this is the same as having 10 meters. Now, if we wanted to do 100 meters or 10 decameters, that's called a hectometer. And then if we wanted to do 10 hectometers or 1,000 meters, so I'm going to put 1,000 up here, so it's 1,000 meters, that's called a kilometer. And that's the one that's would be relatively close to our mile. It's not exactly, because it's the metric system, but that's about the closest measurement for that one. All right, let's go the other way. So if we took that doorway and we chopped it into 10 equal lengths, that's called a decimeter. And a decimeter would be the same as 0.1, so that's 1/10. So we could also use 1/10, so in decimal form or fraction form. Now, if we took that meter and we cut it into 100 little pieces, then it would look like this. It would be called a centimeter. It would be 1/100th, because we cut it into 100 pieces. Notice the 1 over here is in the hundredths place. See, we never get away from those fractions and those decimals. Then if we took that meter and we cut it into 1,000 pieces, these are our little ones. These are called millimeters. Millimeters would be 0.001, because that's in the thousandths place, or 1/1000th. And so you can see why meter is the basic unit of length, and everything else has a prefix that adds on to meter, and it goes up. As it goes up the stairs, it's getting bigger by 10. 1 times 10 is 10, 10 times 10 is 100, 100 times 10 is 1,000. As it goes down the stairs, It's getting smaller, so it's dividing by 10. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just write the names. So we've got kilometer, we've got hectometer, decameter, it's with a K, meter, that's our basic one, decimeter, centimeter, and millimeter. Now, we said that the meter is like a doorway, kilometer is kind of like a mile. A centimeter is kind of like the length of your thumbnail. So not counting the white part, but this part right here. Now again, we're all going to be slightly different, right? So that's just kind of a little average. Kind of gives you a starting point as to how big a centimeter is. A millimeter is about the thickness of a dime, and I should have grabbed a dime. But if you take a dime and you put it on its edge, so you're just looking at the teeny tiny edge of it. Like if you look in between, let me see, like in between my two fingers there. Now we're talking about a millimeter. That's how small that is. All right. Most of the ones that we're going to be dealing with in math in 5th grade, maybe some millimeters, centimeters, meters, and kilometers are going to be the ones that you're going to see in the math problems showing up. So if I had, and I want to show you kind of how to use these steps. This is why I like to have the steps. If I said I have 15 meters equals how many millimeters? So remember, if I have a number and I don't see a decimal point, where's my decimal point? I know you're all saying it. It's at the end. It's at the end of the number. All right, so if I'm going from meters to millimeters, watch what I do here. So I'm starting with meters because it told me the number. So I'm going to start with meters up here. And I have to go to millimeters. So I'm going to go down, or I'm going to go to the right. So my decimal point is going to move to the right. So if I have 15 with my decimal point, it's going to move to the right. And I need to look, how many steps am I going to take? So I'm at meters. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to take my decimal point to the right. 1, 2, 3. And that's where my decimal point is going to move. Now, what do you suppose I'm allowed to put in there? That's right. I can put in some zeros. So now my new number is 15,000. There are 15,000 millimeters in 15 meters. All right. It also works the other way. So if I have 41 centimeters equals blank meters. Okay, so where am I going to start? Well, first off, where's my decimal point? I don't see it, so it must be at the end. I'm going to start at centimeters because that's where it told me it has a number there, centimeters. And I'm going to move to meters. So I'm going to move up here. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to move up here. Which direction am I going? I'm going to the left. So I'm going to draw a little arrow to the left. Now, how many spaces do I have to go? 1, 2. So my decimal point is starting at 41 decimal point, and I'm going to move it 2 places to the left. 1, 2. So now here's my new decimal point, 0.41. So that's how we move them back and forth. Let's do one more. Let's try 57 meters equals blank kilometers. Okay, so again, where's my decimal point? That's right, it's at the end. And I'm going to go from meters to kilometers. So which direction am I moving? Moving to the left. So I'm going to draw my arrow to the left. I'm going from meters 2 kilometers. So how many spaces, how many steps do I have to take? 1, 2, 3. 3 to the left. So 57 point, move it 3 spaces to the left. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I had to move it here. There was nothing there. What can I put there? That's right, a 0. So I'm going to do 0.057 becomes my answer. All right, if you get confused with any of this, please go back and re-look at the notes, re-go through the whole my whole explanation again. You can also go to Khan Academy to get some extra help. Please feel free to email either Ms. Ambacher or myself with any questions that you may have, or send us a private comment in Google Classroom with any questions that you have. All right, thanks for listening. Your homework for this one will be homework. So I'm going to do HW 8-1 and remembering 8-1, and we want you to do all the problems on both pages. Okay, and let's see, those 2 pages, let me grab that real quick. Those 2 pages are page 157 and 158. Most of you have your math homework and remembering books at home. If you do, excellent. If you don't, we've posted them in the homework section of your math Google Classroom. All right, again, let us know if you have any questions, and have fun working with our metric system.